Hey, thanks for checking out this property analysis. My name is Ryan Cushman. I'm a realtor and investor in North Georgia, focused on helping you find and analyze investment properties to provide that cash flow and a better lifestyle for you and your family. Today, I'm going to dive into an analysis to help you practice the skills of analyzing cabins in the North Georgia mountain market area. And if you'd like to take a deeper dive and explore purchasing with our expert services and access to more tools and resources, book a call at ryancushman.com. All right, let's get into it. Today's property is a tiny little one-bedroom property in Blue Ridge, Georgia. It's actually kind of right in between. It's almost exactly in between Blue Ridge and Ellijay. And having a one-bedroom property in this area myself, I know how well these things can do. So as you can take a look from the pictures here, it's very rustic. It's very quintessentially cabiny. It's surrounded by trees. It does have, the listing does tell us that it does have seasonal views. So when the trees are bare, no leaves on the trees, and get some mountain views. Let's take a look at some of these photos. Very quintessentially cabiny. This one is a small property, so it's tiny. It's 400 square feet. It's actually smaller than the one-bedroom property that I have in Ellijay, and that's okay. These things can be little just honeymoon destination locations. It's got everything you need except for one glaring thing, which I will point out here momentarily. Some of the decor is, I would say, a little over the top as far as being cabiny. A lot of folks are totally fine with that and in fact go for that. But I tend to lean toward preferring sort of modern amenities, modern decor. So I think that's an opportunity with this property, is to perhaps modernize some of the decor here. It has a couple of love seats here and a small tabletop and what looks to be perhaps a queen bed. Full bath, one full bath, and then some deck space. All right, so what is missing? The glaring thing that is missing here is a hot tub. When we look at some of the photos here, we see the deck comes on right here. You enter the property there, and then there is some deck space over here. And if we look at these pictures here, it would appear that the deck space in total is a little bit small. There may be room enough out here to have one of the smaller hot tubs that's like a 2 to 3 person hot tub. It may require fortifying this deck a little bit more. So again, there may be room, and I think this is a missed opportunity. People that come to the mountains and stay in a cabin, they are looking for, it's, I think, a non-negotiable to have that hot tub. So that is something that I would, certainly for myself, put a hot tub in place. And anyone that was buying with me to acquire this property for themselves, I would strongly encourage that you fit that in the budget somehow. It'll make the biggest difference and will pay for itself, I think, probably in year one. So definitely something we would want to do. Another thing to call out is it does have what appears to be a window AC unit. This is a small property, so that's probably all you need. But it may, depending on how old and reliable that thing is, you may want to consider one of those mini split units installed to just update that in case, something like that is on its last leg. So a couple of things to consider there. The asking price is $265. Another thing I wanted to look at, and apologies if I'm going too fast here, but I want to get through some of these analyses pretty quickly. The last time this property was sold was in May of 2021, and the owners basically have since been trying to sell the property since October of 2022. So they're approaching 3 years of trying to offload this property. So that's a nice thing to know as we go into negotiation for this property. I do feel like this $265 ask price is too high, especially with it not having central AC and no hot tub. So I think there is some strong negotiation pointers that can be made here to get a great deal. And even at this asking price, I can show you a path to profitability. So let's plug in the address into Rabu. This is one of the better tools out there. And what I find is that it's also free. You don't have to have a subscription to be able to filter and make adjustments to the inputs here. You can simply plug in the address and adjust some filters, and you're off to the races. There are other tools like AirDNA and STR Insights that are also great and oftentimes require a monthly subscription to be able to utilize the full functionality. So I'm leaning toward Rabu because it's accessible to anyone, and we can get a good snapshot and a good view of what a property's profitability potential is. As I say in all of my videos, these tools for analysis and getting estimates of revenue potential are just barometers, and it is important to take into account that these are not promises that the properties will do exactly that. And there are a lot of variables that can be adjusted one way or another that can affect the property up or down. So keep that in mind. As we plug in 37 Dean Court into Rabu, we get a default answer of 32K, which actually is pretty strong. One thing that is important to know for the North Georgia market is that there are a million 3-bedroom properties, a little bit less 4-bedroom, a little bit less 2-bedroom, and very few 1-bedroom properties. So when a couple or some honeymooners are looking for a small cabin getaway and are looking for just a 1-bedroom, those are hard to find. There aren't that many of them. So it means that there is not very much competition, and therefore a great opportunity to really put a nice property out there and not have a lot of competition to fight off. So let's take a look again at these projections here. So the default is 32K. As in previous videos, I'm going to adjust some of these. Any property that has a below 4-star or even below 4.5 stars is not doing well. And so I don't want to compare myself with them, getting the average of those properties that are garbage out there in the market. I also want to perhaps increase my radius just a touch to see if there are any other 1-bedroom properties that are in the mix here that could be good data points for us to compare ourselves against. I also do not want to compare myself with a property that doesn't have any reviews. So those are the quick and dirty adjustments. For now, we'll leave that let's go ahead and uncheck or check without hot tub and see what that does for us. Okay, those settings dropped our profitability a lot. Let's go back in there and adjust with a hot tub. 39K. So you more than double your revenue potential estimate by including a hot tub. I cannot stress enough how important it is that we add a hot tub to this property. This property is on 0.7 acres. Obviously, some of it is difficult to build on, but there certainly is an opportunity somewhere to put a hot tub, whether we cleared out some of the land and graded over here, or fortified this deck, or even built the deck out a little further out. If we scroll down here, if we extended the deck out this way and had a deck extension built out and then fortified so that a hot tub could go there, it is 100% worth the investment, as we can see here. So now, if we are average in the marketplace with this 1-bedroom with a 2-mile radius, only comparing ourselves to other properties that have 1-bedroom properties that have hot tubs, we're doing 40K, which is great. Now, let's go ahead and see what it looks like if we are operating in the 75th percentile. This property is making 71K. Let's see what our comparables are here. This may not be very reflective of what the potential is for this property. So let's take a look at what some of these comparables are looking like. All right, so this property is really nice. It has some seemingly incredible looking views. That may not be a realistic comp for us. Let's open it up on Airbnb and see if it is really everything it says it is as far as its potential. Okay. It's a pretty nice property. I think the views are really probably given, and it's also a lot bigger. This is definitely bigger than a 400 square foot property. So I don't know that I'd want to compare myself to this, but as you can see, this property is doing 10K a month. Wow. Would love to be them, right? All right. So then we look at this property, also luxurious. This property is looking pretty stunning as well. Very modern decor. Very modern decorations. This is, I think, a very new build. I've seen this property before. And looks to be pretty secluded. It's got this really nice covered deck out here. Hot tub, fire pit. This one might be a little bit more in the realm of possibility as far as competing with. We'd have to do some improvements, I think, to the furnishings, the decor, and 100% we'd want to add that hot tub amenity. So that one's somewhat reasonable, I'd say. I'd go ahead and exclude that one. All right, so if we are in the 75th percentile, we're making 60K, and that's not including pet fees or cleaning fees. Pet fees and cleaning fees would be up on top of that, so your actual true gross would be somewhere up and above that. If we are in the 90th percentile, it's basically just this property and this one. We don't want to compare ourselves with that. But you can see that, it could be up in the high 60s. So again, a lot of these properties have a good bit more square footage. This does not look like a good comp for us. It's way bigger than what our property looks to be. Also seems to have some pretty epic views. So it could be a big reach for us to compete in the 90th percentile of one bedroom. So we might be looking to try to compete somewhere in the 75th percentile, which is a great place to be with how inexpensive this property is. So when we plug in our numbers into this free resource that I offer on my website, ryancushman.com, we plug in the list price of $265. We plug in a couple other things, like we'd want to include the cost of a hot tub. A hot tub for two people would not be this expensive, but I would imagine you need to do some grading or deck extensions. And so that number hopefully gets somewhere close to what the reality may be for adding that amenity. We also perhaps want to refresh some of the decor and furnishings in the property, so that is accounted for there. The one bedroom property that I have turns somewhere between 12 and 17 times per month. So that may be high. I don't really know. I only have the one bedroom, but I have 12 turns here. And again, the cleaning fees is really just a pass-through expense. So unless you mark up your cleaning fee and you actually pay your cleaner a little bit less than what you make customers pay, where there's a little bit of margin there for yourself, it's more or less just a pass-through. I have it flat at $90 per turn, and then I also have it down here at $90 per turn, meaning I'm exactly paying out what I collect from the renters. I've done the inputs here for the association fees, pest control, utilities, internet, insurance, cleaning fees, household supplies on a monthly basis, that sort of thing. All right, so all of that's accounted for. Now, I estimate that this, if it's anything like what my property does, it'll do about $140 a night. And then really what I did was adjust the nights booked to get out, to spit out a couple of variables around what the profitability for this property is going to look like. So for the good, we're renting it out for $140 a night and 18 nights of the month. The better scenario, 22 nights of the month. The best scenario, 26 nights a month. And this is reasonable because I have firsthand experience with this with my one-bedroom property. When we go over here to see what that does for us, we see that we're making in the good about $31K, which was on par with what the average was spitting out for us on Rabu. We are making a few $1,000s more annually in the better scenario, and then we're making yet a few $1,000s more in the best scenario. And these may be a little bit on the low end. We could actually end up in the 50K range. So we can perhaps adjust our nightly rate here. We really amenitize this property. Yeah, so if we think that after we add the hot tub and refresh some of the furnishings, really make this pop in the pictures, make it look pristine, we may be able to commit. I see a path for us to being able to command at least this much. Now, when we look at what the results are of these different scenarios after taking into account the mortgage and the annual and monthly expenses, we see that we're cash flowing in this good scenario where we're just kind of puttering along on and being average in the marketplace. We're making $400 a month. That's not bad. I think that's a great deal. And if we are outpacing the average, doing a little bit better than average, where we're making $38K a year, we are netting almost $1,000 a month, $944. And that amount obviously amounts to close to 11, 12K a year. Now, if we're doing really well and we're making $48K a year, we're bringing home close to $1,700 a month, almost $21,000 a year. And again, these may be conservative estimates. So we are realizing in the good, better, best, cash on cash return of 6, 14, and 26. I think this is reasonable. And I also think there's a lot of downward pressure in the marketplace right now where this price point could be, there could be some flex in where this seller is willing to sell this property. And even at this price, there's a great path forward to making a nice chunk of change every month. So anyway, thank you again for checking out this video, for watching the whole way through. I'm trying to make these short, concise, digestible. If you'd like to explore getting in the game, go ahead and check out my webpage, ryancushman.com, where you can book a free call with me or access a couple of free amenities, that deal calculator that I showed you through, so that you can practice and get reps analyzing these properties yourself. Let's get together and take the next steps so that I can help you find the perfect investment property for you and your family. And of course, stay tuned for more deal reviews coming your way for current properties that are for sale in Georgia. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.